Welcome to my pelvic floor focused Pilates class. My name's Amanda Savage and I'm an experienced women's health physio, men's health physio, as well as Pilates instructor. And my class today, about 50 minutes, is going to work around the whole body, but we're going to pay particular attention to coaching and cueing for the pelvic floor and the lower abdominals. And all the exercises I've chosen are neck, back, friendly and avoid straining down into the pelvis. So at the end of this class, you will feel beautifully poised, wonderfully engaged. You'll have worked on your balance, your strength, and we'll even do some relaxation at the end. And you should feel you've got your day off to a really good start or finished with a nice way of winding down. So start by thinking about posture. Spread your weight out evenly across both feet the same and tune into your big toes, baby toes and heels. Let your weight drift forward over your big toe, baby toes and then back over your heels. And again, drifting forward, find the fronts of your feet. Drift back, find your heels. And then let your weight settle in the middle of your feet, toes nice and soft to the floor. Let the floor push you taller so that you stretch up through your calves, tighten your knees and then soften them. Travel on up through the backs of the thighs and focus in on the ring of bones that makes your pelvis. Find your hip bones with your fingertips and move yourself in and out of neutral spine a couple of times. So tip yourself forward, then tuck your tail under, each way to an extreme, and then settle into your middle position. If you had a tail, it would be dropping to the floor. Sneak your fingers around the front and get your brain to connect with your lower abdominals. Let them hang out completely. Take a nice deep breath in. As you breathe out, draw the lower abdominals in towards you, about half what you could do. Try to hold them there in that gentle hold. Make sure you can breathe. It won't feel like you're doing anything, but if you let go, you should feel them drop away. Same again, breath in. As you breathe out, draw the lower abdominals in like good pants at the front. And this time a little bit of lift of the pelvic floor underneath as well. Make sure you can breathe comfortably over the top. It doesn't feel exciting, but when you let go, you feel them drop away. And again, breath in. Now as you breathe out, think tummy in, pelvic floor up like you've just put on your best leggings or underpants. Bring your hands beside you and stretch up beautifully tall, keeping that sense of support below. Lift up from the top of your head, pick your shoulders up, drop them down. Take a moment to notice that beautiful posture and that you've got this background activity in your core. Now get your shoulders moving up, back, round and down, but keeping an eye on that pelvic support as if we're wearing good pants. And then pause. If your pelvic floor's disappeared, just lightly bring it back in again. Check the abdominals, arms wide and fingertips on your shoulders, and some bigger circles, following the line of your elbows, up, back, round and down. And then pause, check in on the pelvic floor. If it's snuck off, draw it back in. Bigger circles, up, over, back and down. Reaching to your full height, lifting your chin, stretching lovely and wide. Feeling that core pulling up through your center. Weight even on your feet. Just one more. Drawing your full height. Bring your hands down and you won't think you've been doing much. But if you let go, you'll feel your insides drop into that sort of wafting place again. So reset them, but bring your feet to face forward in parallel. And I'm just going to turn a little so you can see what I'm doing better. We're going to do a breath in. As you breathe out, we're going to find that lower abdominal drawing in, a little bit of pelvic floor underneath. Hold that middle like you're wearing your best pants. Chin up, bend bend your knees, bring your hands forward, get a stretch into your calves, and then gather in that little bit of extra pelvic floor as you lift up onto your tiptoes, hands behind you. And then dip down, bend your knees, stretch your calves, check you've got the abdominals, draw up through the pelvic floor a little bit extra, up onto your tiptoes. And then drop down, bend forward, and then lift up on your tiptoes, pull up through the core, and then dip down. Now we're going to add a bit from this dip down place. Lift your heels off the floor, press them down, then up onto your tiptoes, hold, check in, drop your heels, bend your knees. Lift your heels off the ground, keep the tummy muscles gently in towards you. Press your heels down, up onto your tiptoes. Feel the backs of your legs working, tighten your arms, notice the pelvic floor is engaged. Bend down into a little mini squat, lift your heels, and now if you want to, you can come right up onto your tiptoes, stretch your arms overhead. And then we're coming back into our mini squat, press the heels down, pull your hands back up onto your tiptoes. Feel your core muscles working, bend your knees, check in on the abdominals, lift the heels clear. Now you've got to hold the abdominals, draw everything up inside, and breathe. And then bend your knees, heels down, lift up onto your tiptoes. One more. Drop the heels, bend the knees. Lift the heels off the floor, hold there, abdominals engaged. Draw up the pelvic floor as you grow tall. Hold it, breathe. And then bend your knees, heels down, tighten the backs of the legs, lift up through your center, hold your balance. And then release. Lovely. Little bit more balancing, which is great for making your glutes work with your abs and your pelvic floor. So staying with our feet pointing forward, draw the hands up and bring one foot alongside your knee. Hold there and then take your hands down, leg down, tighten the bottom you're about to stand on. Keep those abdominals drawn in. You won't necessarily feel the pelvic floor, but it has to work when you do this. And then we're going to change sides again. Tighten the new leg. Use the glutes, tummy muscles engaged. Lift your chin. And then back down. And again, change. And down. Now on the next few, you can make it harder by adding in opening your arms and closing your arms. And change. Tighten the new bottom, lift your chin, holding in at the waist and the lower abdominals, and down. And if you're more advanced and you like a balance challenge, then you can open out into a clam, a standing clam at the top. Just carefully changing from one side to the other. Take your time, don't worry if we're a bit out of sync, that's fine. Work with your breath, just letting yourself breathe in and out, trying to avoid holding your breath. Check in on those abdominals, lift and feel the glutes working. One more. And down. Lovely. Now just on the spot, a couple of roll downs, but as we come up, we're going to cross our wrists and pull off an imaginary jumper overhead. Just makes for a more complete exercise. So beautiful posture. Breath in. As you breathe out, engage the lower abdominals and get that light lift in the pelvic floor as if you put some fantastic underpants on. Start beautifully tall, take as many breaths as you like. As you breathe out, chin on your chest, stretch the back of your neck. And then keep breathing normally as you drop the shoulders forward, rounding the upper back. Push out through your middle back. Let your spine slowly fold towards the floor. Go maybe just to middle of the shins, have a breath. And as you breathe out, we're coming back up using the abdominals to drive the work. Cross your wrists. Peel off an imaginary jumper overhead. Have a nice breath. As you breathe out, check tummy in, little bit of pelvic floor. Chin on your chest, shoulders forward. Let yourself roll down past your knees, past your shins, towards your feet. At the bottom, breathe deep and wide. Let your back have a nice stretch. Have a breath, and as you breathe out, use the abdominal muscles to start driving you back up from the front. Cross your wrists, draw up waist, chest, shoulders, head, overhead stretch, and down. Breath in, breathe out, check in on the abdominals and pelvic floor. If they snuck off, grab them back. Chin on your chest, shoulders roll forward, and now you can go as far towards the floor as your body will reach. If you're a stretchy person, lean on your big toes. If you're not very stretchy, bend your knees so you can get nice and close to the floor. And maybe pause here, have a little bit of a wiggle into your seat and a nice stretch around the top of the hamstrings. As many breaths as you like. Then when you're ready to come up, have a breath. As you breathe out, think abdominals drawing in to drive the movement. Start to straighten the legs. And as you straighten up, think about the pelvic floor. Reach your arms overhead, drawing your inner core up inside you for lovely poise. We'll do one more. Have a breath. As you breathe out, chin on your chest. Let yourself roll. Enjoy that delicious stretch. Linger at the bottom, breathe deep and wide, give your body time. And then as you breathe out, engage your center. Restack your hips, your waist, your chest. Lengthen to the ceiling. Up and round. Lovely. Come and kneel on your mat. Now we'll do a lovely kneeling sequence to open up our chest and open out across the front of the pelvis. So kneeling high, stretch lovely and tall. Think breath in. As you breathe out, notice the lower abdominals drawing gently towards you, little bit of pelvic floor, and hold that lovely poise in your center. Bring your arms up in front and simply open one arm round to the side and back to the front. Round to the side and back to the front. Let your body turn so you twist your middle back and then release. Have a lovely breath and release. Try to stretch a little further behind you each time. Follow your fingertips with your eyes. Enjoy that movement in your middle back. And then you can get that little bit more stretch across the front of the pelvis by bringing one leg forward and then letting yourself turn down the room to face front to back fully. And then keep your arms out and twist across the front. And then open wide, stretch forward towards the screen, leaning into your leg, and then twist. Open and stretch into that front leg, and twist. One more. Open, stretch across the front of the hips, and turn. Then draw your hands back and change legs. Bring your arms up, chin up, draw the abdominals towards you, little bit of pelvic floor, open the arm and close. And then open and keep it there, stretch forward into that front knee, and then bring the arms, twist to the other side of the room. Face one more, stretch into your front knee, and then twist to find the other side. Getting your upper back to stretch a bit more, but also opening up the fronts of the hips and pelvis. And again. Back to the side, and then bring your knees back together. Now we'll get a little bit more opening of the front of the pelvis and into the inside thigh. First, we're going to do the upper body arm part of this task, and then you can choose if you want to add the leg. So we're going to work our glutes and our abs together. Breath in. As you breathe out, find your center support muscles, a little bit of abs, a little bit of pelvic floor, arms up. And then we're going to sit back, taking our weight, and then come forward and open up. So sit back, taking our weight, feel it in your thighs, and then pull yourself up. Drop back, pull up. One more, drop back, pull up. Now you might choose to stay with both knees on the floor, but if you'd like to make it a bit more challenging and a bit more stretch for the inside thigh, put one leg out beside you, taking a bit of the edge of your foot onto your sticky mat. And now we're going to sit back and then stretch up. So as we sit back, bring your arms forward, feel that stretch on the inside thigh, and then you've got to use your muscles to get back up again. Sit back, and now use your muscles, pull up. If that stretch feels a bit much, go back to having the knees in the middle, but it should feel quite nice to get on that inside thigh. Couple more. Lovely. And then for a bit of symmetry, bring that leg in. Just have a nice little child pose, stretch forward, dropping your head between your elbows. Breathe back into your rib cage. Let your lower back have a stretch. And then draw yourself up. Bring your other leg out to the side, arms forward. Take a moment to just let that stretch develop in the thigh. Draw the abdominals in. Sit back, feel the stretch on the inside leg. Lift up and open. Sit back. Linger as long as you like. And up. The slower you do it, the harder. Sit back. Stretch up. It's sort of like sticking your bottom out. 2 more. And 1 more. Sit back. Lift up. And then this time stretch, keep the knees wide, toes together, a wide leg child pose. Sit your body weight through the inside thighs. You can wiggle them wider if you like the stretch. Drop your ears between your elbows. Wiggle your bottom towards your heels and let your body weight stretch the fronts and back of the pelvis. A child pose. Breathe deep and wide. Lovely. Then release your arms and come and lie on your side. We're going to have our knees bent and feet tucked back in a classic Pilates clam start position. Rest your head on your shoulder, or you can put a little pillow in under your ear if you like that feeling. And your arm, your back and your heels should be in the same imaginary line as if you were butted up against your skirting board. Find your tummy muscles with your fingertips and let them hang out. Have a breath in. As you breathe out, deliberately draw the abdominals in with a little bit of pelvic floor as if you've put on your good pants, and make sure you can breathe. Keep the heels together and open the top knee and then pop it together again. We're going to blow out to lift and in to lower. Blowing out to lift, you'll always breathe in. Now you can go as high as you like, as long as you don't roll backwards. So no twisting at the hip, keeping it very pure. Two more. Keep the feet lightly together. One more. And then pause and deliberately release the abdominals, release the pelvic floor. That lets the blood flow back in and lets them recover so they can go again. Now level 2 of a clam, breath in. As you breathe out, engage the abdominals and pelvic floor, your core, and float your feet off the ground. You can keep your hands on your tummy muscles or bring them on your hip. Have a breath. And as you blow out, you open and you'll always breathe in again. So get your outs right and your ins will look after themselves. Blowing out, lift. And you get a bit more glutes if you properly squeeze your heels. Try to get them all the same height, staying firmly on your side. One more. Bring the knees together, lower your feet. Let everything relax. And then we're going to add a leg extension to that last exercise. So breath in. As you breathe out, find the abdominals, find the pelvic floor. Stack the hips nicely, lift your feet clear. And now we're going to open the knee, stretch the leg out, toes back together, close. We take it nice and slow, blowing out to open. Have a little breath, blow out to stretch. Fold and close. Blowing out. And again. Close and lower. If you get the outs in the right place, the ins tend to look after themselves. No rush. Try to keep this little waist tunnel lifted. Abdominals drawn in. 2 more. And then lower your feet down. Draw your arms out in front of you, hands on top of each other, rest your head. Another stretch of the middle back by floating your fingertips up, follow them with your eyes, let your chest roll back and open the arm. Following with your eyes, breathe deep and wide and then draw the fingers together again. Have a nice breath, flow with your own natural breathing rhythm to open your chest. Have a lovely breath and close your chest. Lose yourself into them, they're very pleasant. Nice, one more. Let the chest roll back, open out. Nice deep breath and close. Lovely. Then come and push yourself up and sit on your mat with either your feet together or a little bit what I call frog's legs, and have a waggle from side to find your bottom bones. Another opening the chest exercise called chicken wings. Put your hands together, elbows together, sit lovely and tall. Open your arms and close your arms. Breathing in and out. Look at yourself on your screen and draw your elbows nice and wide. Set. Keep the chin up. Lovely. Then we're going to breathe in to open, hold there, and as you breathe out, pull your elbows down towards your hips, nice and tight, and then let them float back up and close. Breathing in and out. And then you'll naturally breathe in as your hands come back. So open, breathe out, squeeze the elbows down and release. Breathing in and out. Float and close. One more. Open, chin up, pull down, feel the shoulder blades pulling towards your hips, release and close. Lovely. Now stretch your legs out long and put your hands back behind you and rest back on the flats of your hands as if you're at the beach. And if you do no effort at all in your body, you will collapse down into a bit of a slump and a heap. So we're going to notice what our muscles do to help us sit up. So press down on your hands, lift your chest and get a lovely neck. And now have a breath. As you breathe out, think about the lower abdominals and a little bit of pelvic floor, and let your hands just come off the floor, and you should feel your abs kick in. Hold there, breathe, and then stretch your arms up tall, and then lean over to see if you can touch your toes, and you can pull your feet up towards you. I'm a naturally tight person, so I never get to my feet, but I hope you can get a lot further. And enjoy that stretch down the backs of the legs. Then sit really tall again, check abdominals in, and ever so slowly take your arms back, hold, 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 find the floor. You can completely slump again if you want. Then beautiful posture, lovely long neck. Point your toes, release your hands, take the work with your abs, hold it, breathe, lift tall, pull the toes up, fold yourself in half best you can, hold and breathe. Lift tall, take your arms slowly back so your abs have to work till the last minute, and place them down. We'll do one more. Point your toes, beautiful posture, draw in through the abdominals, release your hands, take the weight. It's a secret abs exercise. Hold it, breathe, hold it, stretch tall, pull your toes up, stretch the hamstrings as you lean forward, hold and breathe. And then lift to the ceiling, release your arms, and come and lie on your other side. So knees bent, feet tapped back, stretch your arm out long. Do put a pillow between you and your arm if it's more comfortable. So a little clam series. Stack the hips, the knees and the feet. Breath in to get ready. As you breathe out, think abdominals in, little bit of pelvic floor. Make sure you can breathe nicely. You can check your tummy or hand on your hip. Squeeze the heels, open the knee, and then lower. Trying to breathe out as you lift, and you'll always breathe in again. Blowing out, release. Now on the way up, think bottom, but on the way down, keep those tummy muscles gently drawn towards you. One more. And then release the knee, let the core muscles relax. Have a breath. As you breathe out, abdominals drawn in, little bit of pelvic floor, and lift your feet clear for level 2. Now when you squeeze and lift, you should get a bit higher, more stretch under the thigh, but it takes a bit more effort. Keeping those abdominals drawn in like good pants. And back down. Blowing out to lift, and you'll always breathe in again. Three more. Stop sooner if you get cramp. High as you like as long as you don't roll. And one more. Work those glutes. And then knees together, lower your feet, let the tension go. And then we'll add the leg extension. Breath in to get ready. Breathe out, engage your core, find your little waist tunnel, lift your feet. Blow out to open into a clam, have a little breath, and then blow out to extend. Point your toes, stretch your hamstrings. Feet together, knees together, keep the feet in the air. Blowing out, have a little breath, blow out. Stretch, fold, and close. These are a bit harder, so just 6 of them. Keep those feet nicely lifted, soften your neck. One more. Lower your knees, lower your feet. Let the bottom half relax completely. Draw your arms out in front of you. Some lovely chest openings. Follow your fingertips with your eyes over and stretch as far as is comfortable for you. Have a breath and then fold together. Just work with your rhythm of breathing, trying to expand your lungs, twist the body, open the chest. Take your time, they're quite delicious. One more. Bring your arms together. Come and turn onto your back in a classic Pilates rest position. Take a moment to get comfortable on your mat. Feet, knees, hips in symmetry. Have a little bit of a wiggle about till you feel even. Maybe check in on your hips and shoulders. Let your head turn to one side and then turn to the other side. And again. And bring your head into your middle position. Let both hands float up to point to the ceiling and start with some shoulder drops. Lift the fingertips of one hand past the other and then let the shoulder thud to the mat. So lift, thud, lift, thud. Elbows are nearly straight. It's the thud of the shoulder that you're after. Start slow and you'll probably find one side's a bit tighter and less natural to move than the other. But as they ease up, you can go faster. Lift, drop, lift, drop, lift, drop, lift, drop. Trying to get under your shoulder blades. And then you can pummel quite fast. It's a nice feeling. Now remember that lift, drop round the center feeling. And we're going to do the same for the hips. So bring the hands down. Draw the tummy muscles in, little bit of pelvic floor, lift your hips in the air. And now it's drop, lift instead of lift, drop. So you're going to drop your hip, lift it. Other side, drop, lift, drop, lift, drop, lift. And again, you'll probably find one side feels a bit stickier than the other, like it doesn't really want to do it. But just have a little go. And then pop your bottom down. Have another go with your arms. Lift, drop, lift, drop, lift, drop, lift, drop. Notice how your spine stays in the middle, but the joints move around it. Little pummel. And then switch back to the hips. And sometimes your hips learn off your shoulders. So drop, lift, lift. And you'll find you can speed it up a little bit and get that sort of pummeling effect for the hips as well. And then lower yourself down. Nice. Now settle into your neutral spine. So squash your back, arch your back, find your middle position, and sneak your fingers round to keep an eye on your hip bones to make sure they're staying nice and level. Breath in. As you breathe out, flatten the abdominals, little bit of pelvic floor to anchor the pelvic position. Keep the shoulder blades just stuck to the mat and that nice gap under your neck, back of your head just stuck to the mat. And without anything moving in your top half, keeping the abdominals gently engaged, lengthen a leg and lightly rest the heel on the floor. Feel that lengthening down the leg, stretching your body, but without letting your back go into an arch. Then draw the foot back in, keep the tummy flat, pelvic floor switched on, and lengthen the other leg, rest the heel. And back in. We're going to blow out to stretch out, and in as we come back in. Blow out to stretch out. And I want the heel to just touch the floor, but without dragging the back into an arch or making the shoulder blades come off the floor. So we're trying to flatten ourselves. One more each leg. Might just take a bit of thinking to lengthen the leg rather than arch the back. Then pause, let everything go. You'll feel your back wants to arch. Find your neutral, breath in. As you breathe out, engage the center, a little bit of pelvic floor, and you can add an arm. So now as we stretch out and touch our heel, we're going to reach back and just find the floor with your fingertips. And then back to the center, make sure you've got a flattened tummy, little bit of pelvic floor, stretch back with your other side. Just touch the floor, heels and fingertips, back in. Keep the abdominals, beautiful stretch. It's got to be perfect. Just find the floor, back in. And as you find the floor, you're trying to find it by lengthening your limbs, not by arching your back. Keep those shoulder blades down, ribs nice and low. Work with your breath, blowing out to stretch out, and in as you pull back in again. It's called a starfish. Make yourself as long and elegant as you can. One more each way. Back to the center. Lower your arms, let everything go. Now we're going to make it a bit more challenging. If this starts to make your tummy bulge or you keep losing your anchor on the mat, you might need to come back to this level. But we're going to do breath in. As you breathe out, abdominals in, little bit of pelvic floor, and fold your right leg into tabletop. Hold this right leg lovely and still, using a little bit more core than we needed for the last one. And now, hands relaxed beside you, going to just slide the left leg out to touch the heel, and then bring it back in again. And you'll feel that you've got no anchor, so you've got to work a lot harder with the abdominals. You can have the hands just beside you to start. Keep the right leg still, extend the left one, and draw it back in. Blowing out to stretch out, in to come back in. Keep the right leg still, stretch out, and in. Takes a bit of thinking. One more. Lengthen the leg, keeping that neutral spine, and then drop the right leg down. Let everything go. Reset. Breath in. Breathe out to engage the abdominals. Find your pelvic floor, neutral spine. Left leg in tabletop position, holding beautifully still. Hands beside you, shoulder blades stuck to the mat. Extend the right leg, find the heel, and back in. Blowing out. Hold it a second, back in. Elongating the leg rather than arching the back. Hold it, back in. Work with your breath. 2 more. Back in, lower your leg. Then to take it up a level, what we call leveling up, we're all going to lift our arms and you can repeat the leg in the air and the heel stretches, but with no hands to support you. Or the next level up would be arms in the air, start in tabletop, touch down, stretch out to find the heel, come back in, lift up. So I'll do this one, but you could do the one in between, which is arms in the air, stretching only. Take your time, don't rush. You've got lots of concentrating to do. Keep those lower abdominals engaged. And just work with your breath, aiming to blow out as you stretch out. Shoulder blades touching the mat. One more. Keep those tummy muscles engaged. Stretch long. Draw back in. Then lower 1, lower the other. Maybe a few shoulder drops just to ease out. Tilt, arch, find your neutral, and draw your left leg into tabletop. Nicely engage lower abdominals. You're going to need that little bit of pelvic floor like good pants. We're going to fold the right leg up, and the movement is touch down, lengthen to find the heel on the floor, fold back in, pick up. Shoulders down, ribs down. Got to keep everything else still. Take your time. And I think if you aim for blowing out as you stretch out, the other breaths will work their way around that. 3 more, shoulder blades down. If it feels a bit much for you, just do the leg in and out without the lifting into tabletop each time. Last one. And then lower one foot, lower the other foot. Stretch your arms out comfortably wide beside you. Stick your feet and knees together and let both knees drop to one side. Have a nice diagonal stretch. Back to the middle and then to the other side. And you can go all the way to the floor if you're a stretchy person, turning your head away. Or if you're not so stretchy, just let the knees go as far as feels comfortable. You're going to feel a stretch across your chest and down your arm. I like to turn my head away from my knees. Gently side to side. One more each way. Then bring your knees back to the center. Find your neutral spine by squashing your back, arching away, settling into your middle position, feet and knees tight together, and find your hip bones, your sticky out hip bones with your fingertips. We're now going to work on a bit of rotational control. So a breath in. As you breathe out, flatten the abdominals, find your pelvic floor, and let your knee come out to the side, getting a good opening and stretch of the hip, but not letting the other side join in. And then use the inside thigh pelvic floor on that side to get back to the middle, and then open up the other way. Opening the hip, enjoying that sense of space and stretch, have a breath, and pull back to the middle. And we're both controlling the movement out to the side, but making sure the leg that's not doing anything stays still. And we can add the same arm to leg. So if we open out to the left, we add the left arm with the left leg. Back to the middle, and then right arm, right leg. Back to the middle. It's all about control. Keep the shoulder blades stuck to the mat. Nice stiff elbows, flat hands. Lovely. Then pause in the middle. Check you've got your neutral spine. Let the tummy and pelvic floor go for a moment. Have a breath. As you breathe out, abdominals in, little bit of pelvic floor. Now open the arm and leg together. And then you've got to hold your poise, release your foot and extend so that your leg and your arm make the same shape. Fold back in and close. It's going to take a lot of thinking and control. Open to the other side. Extend the leg to match the arm. Hold your position. Fold back in and close. It's harder than it looks. Open. Keep everything still. Only moving from the knee to stretch, fold, back to the middle. And I think the hardest part is not moving the straight up to the ceiling side. It'll want to do a sort of sympathy stretch. Fold and close. There's a lot going on, take your time. 2 more each way. Now try to work with your natural rhythm of your breath so that you're not holding your breath. I like to aim to breathe out as I stretch my leg out. Then I know I've breathed. 1 more each way. Back to the middle, couple of shoulder drops, and release your arms down. Lovely. Now some work for our glutes. We're going to bring our feet a little bit closer to our bottom muscles, about 1 inch between our thighs and knees. Make sure your toes are nicely spread out. Breath in to get ready. As you breathe out, tummy in, little bit of pelvic floor, and then use the bottom muscles to curl and lift you into a bridge. And then we're going to touch down and almost immediately push back up without too much of a curl. So we're going to touch and push back up. So we're using the glutes to drive the movement. Touch, push up. Weight nice and even on your feet. Lovely. Then pause, release. And now we're going to start with the arms in the air, flat hands, tummy in, pelvic floor, curl up. And as you curl up, touch your fingertips to the mat. So you get this extra bit of squeeze in your glutes. And then touch down. And then straight up. Touch the fingertips to the mat. Feel the glutes squeeze. And release. Blowing out to lift the bottom. Pull the hands down. Release. Have a breath. Blow out. Lift. Release. And 1 more. Release. Bring your hands down. And now we're going to add extending the leg. So have a breath. As you breathe out, tummy in, pelvic floor, lift your bottom, straighten one leg, fold back in, lower. Have a breath. Breathe out, lift your bottom. Have a breath in. Breathe out to extend. Fold back in, lower. Have a breath. Breathe out, lift your bottom, stretch your leg, fold, lower. Don't rush, it's always harder if you go slower. Have a breath. Breathe out, push up. Keep the hands very light now, just for balance. And again, lift, hold, extend, fold, lower. 2 more. Lift, extend, fold, lower. Lovely. And now you can add the arms if you want to. So we're going to start with our arms in the air. As you breathe out, lift up, pull the fingertips down. Hold them beside you as you extend. Fold back in, lower. Have a breath. Breathe out, lift. Hold the hands just beside you, just your fingertips as you extend. Fold, release and lift them. Have a breath. Breathe out, lift up, fingertips. Have a little breath as you extend out. Fold, release. Have a breath. Breathe out, push up. Little breath in, breathe out, extend, fold and lower. 2 more each way. Blowing out to lift, little breath, blow out to stretch, fold, release. Breathe out, lift, hold there, extend, fold, release. 1 more each way, lift, extend, fold, release, and last one. Lift, stretch to your tiptoes, fold, release. Couple of shoulder drops. Lovely. Then take your arms wide. And now we're going to just work our upper abs to finish. So a breath in. As you breathe out, drop the ribs towards the mat. Engage the lower abdominals. Think about your pelvic floor and pull your arms in from the side really stiff as if you were going to clap your hands. And then open back wide again. Have a breath. As you breathe out, tummy flat, ribs down, pull your arms in. It won't feel like abs, but those are actually your obliques having to help bring your arms in. And now we just add to that a little tiny head lift. So we're coming into the middle as if we're going to clap our hands, head and shoulders off the floor, and then lay back open wide. Have a breath. As you breathe out, lift the head and shoulders up. Hands are going to almost clap. And then release. Take your time, open out properly in between. Nice. Now you've got one more bit you can add, that heel stretch from earlier. So have a breath. As you breathe out, head and shoulders come up and you stretch the heel to find the floor and then fold back in, lay back. Have a breath. Breathe out, lift up, stretch and release. Aim to be breathing out as you do the hardest bit, which is to come up and stretch. Just one more each way. And one more. Open out. And go back to those lovely hip twists from side to side. Switch off the muscles we've been working. And then for a nice cool down stretch, we're going to slide the right foot beside the left foot and push over to the left, twist to the right, and make that stretch just a little bit bigger up into the chest. Continuing our theme of middle back stretching. And then left foot beside the right one, push over to the right, and you can turn your head away, but if that feels a little bit too much for your body, turn your head with your knees. And sometimes you find you're a bit tighter one way than the other. So again, right foot beside the left, not crossing, push over to the left. And you'll notice that's up nearer the middle of the back. And then left beside right, push to the right. And then to get into the lower back a bit more, cross the right foot over the left foot and flop it out to the side. And then touch the toes to the left. And then touch the knee to the right. And you'll feel this comes down lower, more into your sacroiliac joints. Just have a gentle rock side to side, 2 or 3 times. Should feel really pleasant. Nice if you get sticky sacroiliac joints. And then swap it over. Left foot over right, flop out to the side, tip to the right, tip to the left. Nice. Give them a little massage. And then to finish, we'll take our shoulder drops and then our chicken wings. Hands together, fold at the elbow and open out like cactus arms. The chicken wings we did earlier, open and close, letting the backs of the hands and elbows come close to the floor. If you can reach the floor, that's lovely. Enjoy the stretch. One more. Then bring the hands beside you. Feet nice and close to your bottom. Have a breath. As you breathe out, curl your bottom up in the air, a delicious spine curl. Couple of breaths at the top. And then as you breathe out, drop your ribs, drop your waist, drop your hips. Roll back into the mat. And again, have a breath. Breathe out, engage the abdominals, lift the pelvic floor, curl yourself up in the air, hold at the top, couple of deep breaths. And then dropping down, ribs, waist, hips, and release. And one more. Curl to the top. Now as you're coming down, melt into the mat like a snowman or an ice cream on a hot day. Drip your spine into the mat and through the floorboards. I hope your body will feel lovely and worked, but also like it's ready to release any tension. And we'll now take a few minutes to work around the body, doing some formal relaxation technique. You can lie just where you are, you can stretch your legs out long, you can lie on your side, or you can come and join me sitting up. I'll come up into more of a yoga position so that my voice will carry better. Close your eyes. Relax into your mat. Try to keep your mind with your body for a few more minutes for this really powerful but quick relaxation technique. Let your shoulders drop away from your ears to make a nice big space. Gently press your shoulders on purpose down towards your feet and then release them. Draw your shoulder blades together behind you and then let them slide apart. Let a warm, heavy feeling drift from the back of your neck, down across your shoulders and into your arms. Let your arms be heavy, elbows soft, wrists and hands floppy. Give each finger its own space and let the air float round and in between them. Stretch out your fingers to the tips of your fingernails and then release them. Stretch them again, opening up the webs and the creases. Let them fall. Then leave your hands floating away. Wrists and elbows soft, shoulders heavy. Come back to the middle and become properly conscious of your breathing again. With each breath in, fill your lungs up with air. And then with each breath out, let the bones of your spine sink a little deeper into your mat. Let your hips roll out heavy. Release any last tension in the abdominals or pelvic floor. Help your legs to relax by squeezing your bottom muscles and then letting them go. Tension your knees and then release them. Stretch your calves by pulling your feet up, then point them away and let them go floppy. Wiggle the toes away from the neighbours. Let them fall. Now leave your feet floating away, ankles and knees soft, hips heavy, and drift all the way back up to check in on your face and your head. Let your cheeks be soft. Let your teeth unclench. Let your tongue come away from the roof of your mouth. Lick your lips if they're dry. Let the air float in through your nose and off the top of your head, taking any frowns with it. Stretch your eyebrows up. Let them fall. Then let your eyeballs sink behind your eyelids and enjoy a minute to yourself before we have a final stretch. Now in your own time, start to find your hands and your feet again and gradually bring yourself back to life. Have some deep breaths and a little bit of a cat stretch till you're ready to open your eyes and come back to life. And then come and roll on your side, work your way back to kneeling on your mat again, just so we don't get up too quick. So kneeling on your mat, stretch lovely and tall. Let one arm come up and have a little lean to the side, and then scoop the other arm up, have a little lean to the side. Use a little bit of momentum to get some flow, and the other way. One more each way. Have a nice stretch, get some oxygen to your head. Then bring your hands up in front of you, open out one side and then the other. Lovely. And then a big circle, follow your fingers overhead, drop them down beside your knees, tuck your toes under, swing back, give your big toes a stretch, give your calves a stretch, drop your head, start to release and draw yourself back to standing. Think beautiful posture thoughts again. Spread your weight out evenly on both feet. Draw up through the backs of your legs. Find your neutral spine position, and I'd like to place a reasonably large bet that you're instinctively holding your core, just that perfect, slightly working medium posture. Bring your shoulders back and down, lift your chin, stretch out through the top of your head. Notice that posture, float your hands up beside you, turn palm up and keep traveling overhead. Open out to the tips of your fingers and down, and get that extra little bit of poise by rising up on your tiptoes. Feel your inside core muscles waking up, reach out wide and lower. And one more time, floating up, find the best you, beautifully stretched. Then bring your hands down, but try to carry this lovely posture around with you for the rest of the day. Thank you for joining me. Do have a look at some of our other videos on the channel, and I look forward to working with you again soon.